Alright, so this video is a little bit different from what I usually would do, and normally I would not make a video like this at all. But today I have had a developer try to silence me for speaking uncomfortable truths. The developer of Starship Troopers Extermination, Offworld Industries, has permanently banned me from their forum for speaking uncomfortable truths. Uh, To cover a bit of what is going on here, I should probably start with my review. Now, mind you, I do have 130 something hours in this game. I used to love the game very, very much. But the game has been mismanaged for the last year and a half with all kinds of issues. They rushed to Unreal Engine 5 before it was ready. They released a second planet that was poorly tested and drops everyone's FPS. If you go on the Steam discussions, you will find tons of people saying, oh, yeah, like when someone bitches about there being low FPS, people respond with, yeah, that's pretty normal. Because it is. The game is not well developed. And today is October 4th. On October 11th, this game will be releasing on console in their 1.0 version. Now, well, I'll let my review take it from here. If you would have asked me a year ago if I recommended the game, I would have said absolutely. And if we were friends at the time, I might have even tried to buy you a copy. I was a fool and had foolish hopes. Today, I learned that back in an August Q&A, about 2 months ago at the time of writing, the devs said that it was too hard to separate ADS sensitivity from hipfire sensitivity, and that the feature would not come until after the 1.0 release. I was astonished by this because I have seen the exact options in the old UE4 INI files before the upgrade to UE5. UE4 and UE5, for anyone that does not know, is Unreal Engine 4 and Unreal Engine 5. They were just never activated and defined. So I did what any nerd would do when I don't believe something, and I looked into how to do it. At first, I found a video tutorial on how to set X and Y sensitivity individually. This was something they didn't know how to do for a long time, and here I say that they only had one slider for both sensitivities. I didn't realize it, but at the time I wrote this, they still only have one slider for both sensitivities. I'll return to that later. This took about 3 minutes for me to find and learn how to do, and I've never developed a game in my life, though I do have a lot of experience tweaking UE INI files. I then refined my search and found exactly how to define input mapping contexts in Unreal Engine 5 and can give you a link directly to the developer guide provided by Epic. I learned how to do all this in about 10 minutes, with some minor help from Copilot and absolutely no developer experience. These devs have been unable to figure out how to do this for over a year and a half. Now, for context, I started out asking Copilot how to do it, and then I checked the sources Copilot provided. I didn't just go off of what Copilot said. Anyway, continuing. In 8 days, this game will be releasing on consoles, and none of the players, 7 days now, 8 days at the time I wrote this review, and none of the players will be able to set different sensitivity for their hipfire versus their ADS. As someone who plays everything, even StarCraft, with a controller, I can tell you this will make some weapons absolutely unusable, and many of these would-be new players, I should have hyphenated that, would-be new players are going to be turned away. This is a game that relies heavily on an active community or it becomes unplayable. You can't finish the main co-op mode with less than 11 or 12 person team. And this is very much a fact. I've watched missions fail no matter how much effort we put in because we only had 9 people on the team. When I last looked, the average player count is about 400 players, and you need 16 people to fill it, like max out a team. So every team that gets maxed out, 400 divided by 16, etc., etc. Anyway, resuming. The devs knew this, and that's why they rushed to put it on console, as the PC player base has been dwindling over the last year and a half. Oh, did I forget to mention they are rushing out the console version ahead of their original plan? Yeah, that's a thing. Presumably because they need players to keep the game alive. They also said they aren't going to allow controller controls to be customizable, at least not right away. This is not a hard thing either, and a handful of us have been customizing the controls via any edits for over a year, since they experimented several times with different controller schemes, and some of them were pretty bad. And yet they can't figure out how. There's a typo there. Can't figure out how to make a menu to do that, but are about to put out the full release in 8 days. If you've only skimmed this review to this point, you might be thinking this is mostly controller stuff and doesn't affect me because I'm only going to use a keyboard and mouse. But there's heavy signs of incompetence here. Rushing out 1.0 in 8 days. Rushing out 1.0 in 8 days is looking like it's going to be a disaster. Because again, these devs can't even figure out how to separate ADS from hipfire after 1.5 years. And I can teach you how to do it in less than half an hour. And mind you, in 8 days, the price is going to go up too. I could go on longer about other poor decisions they've made, like jumping from UE40, like I did mention this earlier in the beginning, and are projected to make, but there is a character limit, and at the end of the day, yeah, etc., etc. I really truly wish I could have recommended this game, because like I said, I did love this game at one point, but the devs don't respect the players, and I am making this video because I've been permanently banned, mostly for this post, but also a couple replies pointing this out, because I brought this to, I did my best to try and bring this to the devs' attention, and their response was to ban me. This is a lot of what I just said in that review. They are seriously going to launch the console version in a state where players have to choose between aiming their sidearm and aiming a scoped weapon. I know for a fact aim sensitivity isn't any option in Unreal Engine because, again, I have a lot of experience editing Unreal INI files. I listed an example here. Some people said this example was crap. Honestly, Copilot gave me this. I'm not a coder. I do not know C++. I wish I did. I have trouble learning languages. But I know how to read an Epic developer page that covers exactly dynamic and contextual input mappings. Yeah, the full review is here. I don't know why it took them a year and a half to find this. Not review, guide, tutorial. Not sure why it's been a year and a half and they haven't done this. There's also, um, maybe I'll link this in the description. A brief little guide on how to. I'm not going to click it because I don't want to copyright strike. But it's just a basic walkthrough on how to set up and separate X and Y axis, which again, it's been a year and a half and they haven't even separated X and Y axis. This guide will show you how to do it in about 3 minutes with no coding required. Yeah, this is disgusting. They should be ashamed of themselves. It is disgusting. A year and a half to do things that you can find on the internet in like 10 minutes. At the very, even if for some reason this contextual input thing doesn't work, because some people in the replies before this thread got nuked had said that there could be reasons the contextual input wouldn't work, blah, 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 whatever. Sure, fine. But at the very least, separate the X and Y axis. This was done entirely in the Unreal Engine 5 interface and had there was no coding involved. Anyone can separate their X and Y axis. For some reason, these devs haven't. So yeah, I do believe that they should be ashamed of themselves. But I guess that in that regard, that's my opinion. But yeah, I had plans to buy this game for some friends of mine and whatnot. I'm obviously scrapping that. To go on further, this is the ban that I mentioned. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Put image in a new tab. As we can see here, this was a comment to someone's thread. They were asking about how, actually I forget the full context of the thread. It was basically just like, how is the release gonna do and whatnot. And yeah, I responded with, this. And yeah, spamming all threads and constantly flaming the devs is supposedly why I was banned. I commented on a few threads with relevant replies to said threads. This I can pull up the full ban, but down here it just says it's a permanent ban. So yeah, the Starship Troopers developers are trying to silence me for speaking uncomfortable truths. And I just wanted to make this video highlighting that. And yeah, I don't normally make videos of this nature. And hopefully I never will again. But I will not be silenced for speaking the truth. So, whoever sees this, I hope you have a good day. I hope you never give Offworld Industries any money. And as much as I loved Starship Troopers Extermination, I cannot recommend it. And you should probably avoid it. Anyway, I believe that is everything. Oops, wrong one. Everyone, have a good day.